Be such a stalwart effort to make sure that the most important thing was that President Biden didn't get anything done.
Joe Biden ran as for president on the promise for bipartisanship in Washington, but in the wake of Republicans blocking voting rights, the White House is rethinking their ability to reach across the aisle. On Friday, the White House press secretary noted that the president is still open to working with Republicans on new proposals like reforming the Electoral Count Act, but indicated that Build Back Better, which the president suggested could be broken up into big chunks, will likely have to move forward without Republican support.
Where do you guys feel like you might actually be able to get 10 Republicans?
Well, you tell me. Is there a proposal where there are 10 Republicans? I'm not aware of one. What the president was talking about is we have 50 votes in the Senate. We're going to get as much, a big mountain-sized chunk, whatever you want to call it, as much as we can of the Build Back Better agenda that we can get 50 votes for.
Bridges are also burning for Senator Sinema after she and Senator Manchin torpedoed Democrats' last hope of passing voting rights last week. Leaders of the Arizona Democratic Party today voted this weekend to censure Sinema for her failure to do whatever it takes to ensure the health of our democracy. The president of Emily's List, a political action committee that supports Democratic pro-choice women, also announced they no longer endorse Sinema, saying she will find herself standing alone in the next election. Well, the next elections are just around the corner, leading many Americans to ask, where do we go from here? Joining me now to discuss, Nina Turner, former Ohio State Senator. So, Nina, is Biden experiencing an awakening here? Is he giving up on his idea that he is the person who could reach across the aisle? That was what we heard during the campaign. This was his pitch to voters, that he could get it done. He could win back the Republicans, the white working class, and he could also reach across the aisle in the Senate and in the Congress and get things done. Is he realizing that that is just a figment of his imagination?
I hope he is experiencing an awakening, Charles, because it is needed. Not only is it the recalcitrance of the Republican Party, but we got to deal with members of the Democratic Party as well. The clips that you showed with his press secretary saying we got 50 votes. No, you don't have 50 votes. That's part of the problem here, because if we have 50 votes, then the vice president could be the tiebreaker. We do not have 50 votes. So not only does the president have to deal with the party that has lost its ever-loving mind, to quote my grandmother, he also has to deal with primarily two Democrats in that Senate who made it very clear that they are not willing to undo the rules of the filibuster to help not just really this president, but to help to advance an agenda that lifts people in this country.
So those 50 votes, as you just pointed out, still run through Manchin. It's still a Manchin vote. So, do you think that there are big chunks in the Build Back Better plan that Manchin and Sinema would be willing to vote for and just go it alone with only Democrats to pass?
Jesus, Charles, I hope so. When I start calling on Jesus, it's serious. I understand. I get that they have to break up Build Back Better now, but I am disappointed that it has come to this. They don't have to break up stuff when it comes to bailing out Wall Street. They didn't have to break it up when it came back to the bipartisan infrastructure bill. But lo and behold, when it comes to the social contract to help the poor, the working poor, and the barely middle class, we have to break it up. So I get it that they have to do it because this is where we are now, but it really speaks to the fact that too many people in D.C. are just really out of touch to the real struggles and the needs of the people. I hope that the president will use the full force and weight of his office to call these people out, Charles. It's time out. He's been diplomatic. I don't fault him for trying to starting the path in that way, but they have already, I think it was Dr. Maya Angelou who said, if people show you who you are, believe them. They have shown him time and time again who they really are. So it is time to take off the kid gloves and take it to the streets, Charles. I say gas up the jet and let the American people know that they are standing in the way of his agenda, and that his agenda, primarily from the Build Back Better perspective, even though it's a watered down version, don't get me started, But, you know, expanding child tax credits, they have expired, Charles. Those tax credits are expired right now as you and I have this conversation. Making sure people have paid leave is important. So all of those things are important to helping the people in this country. And if you only got two people standing in the way, you got to call them out. Let's just go ahead and call them out. So part of calling them out is, as you laid out, breaking up the bill, having the votes, and let's see where people stand. Vote it up or vote it down. Let the American people know if you're on their side or not.
You mentioned gassing up the jet. Let's talk about that for a little bit. An NBC News poll found that 72% of adults say that the country is heading in the wrong direction. And the White House seems to think that that is just a messaging problem. He needs to gas up the jet, get out there and say and brag about what he's already done. Is that the solution to this? Can he just talk about the things that he's passed, gotten through Congress, and stop talking about the things that failed, and that will change these numbers? Because these are disastrous numbers for Democrats heading into the midterms.
Yeah, when I say gas up the jet, I mean take the fight to the American people, not for us to talk about what's happening in the bubble of D.C. And you and I both know, yes, is it true that the bipartisan infrastructure bill passed by way of example? Yes. But can Big Mama feel that? No. Can Big Daddy feel that? No. So it really doesn't matter if you're not giving people something they can feel. So my version of gas up the jet is really taking the fight to the people, letting them know I'm standing up for this, I'm pushing for this, and I have a Congress that is not cooperating when it comes to paid family leave, extending child tax credits. Those are the kinds of things that I'm talking about. The president should take the fight to the people and let them know that Manchin and Sinema are standing in the way. And Charles, I would argue that there are probably some other folks hiding behind Manchin and Sinema. But it can't just be about bragging about what you have done when people are not feeling that. There has to be a realization that this stuff is not getting down to the street level where people actually see their material needs changing. It's just not happening.
Right. You heard it right here on Prime, folks. Nina Turner will be remixing Giving Them Something They Feel by En Vogue to give Big Mama something that she can feel. And that will be the political theme song of the midterms. Nina Turner, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it.